A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube in beautiful State College as we get you set for what should be a very busy weekend in the sports world, certainly on the Penn State front. Of course, if you've been listening to our station today, PIAA State Wrestling Championships getting underway this morning with the AA action and some good results so far for Center County. 3 Bald Eagle area wrestlers and a Penns Valley wrestler into the quarterfinals tomorrow. Along with a Phillipsburg Osceola wrestler into the quarters. And I believe everybody in the Center County contingent is still alive in the tournament heading into day 2. On the AA side, AAA will get underway here at 4:30 this afternoon. Todd and Norm will be back on the air. They'll keep you abreast of the action going on throughout the evening. And then right through days 2 and 3, tomorrow and Saturday as well from Hershey. They'll be keeping you updated on the 3 Center County girls. Girls action will be getting underway here in about 15 minutes. And we'll see what we can do to pass along the results there here as well during the Goon and Ironhead show here this afternoon. Couple of other quick programming notes. The Pittsburgh Pirates, we announced yesterday, are going to be airing their games on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox here throughout the upcoming season. So we're looking forward to having the soundtrack of summer back here in the Valley of Happiness. I like Greg Brown. I love his calls. I'm looking forward to having the Pirates on. I'm not especially optimistic about the season, not thrilled with the offseason moves, but I am happy that we will have.
Besides the point.
That is beside the point. I am happy to have the beloved Buccos on here this season, and it has been a while since the Pirates were on the airwaves here in Center County and Happy Valley, so we're happy to have them back on. And again, we'll get that coverage started on March 27th, which will be the home opener, the season opener, not the home opener. They'll be at the Marlins. That'll be a 4:10 start and a 3:40 airtime here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
Have you looked at dating Tuesday and Thursday affects us?
I
will.
I have not. I am sure there are
some.
Yes, that there will be. Well, that first game will 3:40. So right out of the gate. I'll have to get
I'll
get that scheduled together.
So you're opening. Buccos are opening in Miami. I get it. I love it.
Yep.
So for years, why do they try to open up games in the Northeast? Like there are enough domed teams around this league in both leagues. That like just the Phillies, the Yankees.
Every now and
then.
Orioles.
I mean, the Orioles. I mean, they may even have less weather than like Boston, Cleveland. I mean, Pittsburgh. All these teams are just dumping games only because of the weather. Just go on the road 2 weeks straight to open the season for 2 weeks.
Although, how about the Penn State baseball team opening up Tuesday night and getting it in good fashion, and selling a lot of hot dogs on the first dollar dog night of the season.
Huge crowd there the other night, man.
It was amazing. Yeah, over 4,000 if you did not see it. And boy, they are off to one heck of a start this season. Now 8-1. They've won 7 straight. Best start since 1980 for the Penn State baseball squad. And they got the win, obviously, on Tuesday over Fairleigh Dickinson. Holding them off for the 1-run win. I think it was 7-6. And I forget the exact number. It was over 4,000 in attendance, and I think it was close to 6,000 hot dogs that were consumed on the first dollar dog night. And that's just become kind of a phenomenon of its own. And it's kind of a cool thing to see.
It's, we know we saw Putnam last year do. It's the dogged inning he tries to do. 9 hot dogs.
That is.
So there's another challenge in Major League Baseball. It's 9 hot dogs and 9 beers in 9 innings.
That is, listen, that's a lot, man. Like, And I love hot dogs.
Yep,
I love beer. That's, maybe when I was younger, that's something I would have been willing to tackle. I got to tell you, like, it doesn't even sound like something, like, I'm pretty sure the Ironhead of his 20s would have been all over this.
No
like, let's at least give it a real run.
Yeah.
I have no interest in even attempting anything close to it. I'm like, yeah, a couple of hot dogs, a couple of beers, I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, man, the other night, after I did that, I don't know if I've talked about it, but me and Landon do that TV show with the cigars with Letterman's. But we went to Texas Roadhouse after, and I ordered a nice sirloin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, had his mother covered. I couldn't finish it. He's over there eating a 20-ounce bone-in sirloin,
sure.
and I'm just like, I used to be able to do that and I'm fatter, I'm bigger, but I just get filled up now.
Preaching to the choir.
I don't know what the hell's going on, but
he's to the choir.
Landon's like sitting there, he's eyeing my meat up like it was the Rose Bowl in '95 when Joe made us stop eating the prime rib, and I was stealing from corners. Yeah, but I was sitting there and I was like, God,
Lowry's, where are you, baby?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Did you watch that? That was a good one, man. I have had more people come up to me, and a lot of people, I've told that story a ton. But a lot of my teammates watched that, and they were like, dude, that brought back so many freaking memories. Because another time Joe got me good is my true freshman year when I was redshirt, and we went down to Temple, and we played at the Vet. And he brought me down there and dressed me, but I knew I wasn't going to play because I was redshirt. And so, I got set up. I mean, it's always like set up the rookie or set up the freshman. And the guys I'm eating at lunch, I'm having snacks with the night before. And the old man was worried about weight constantly, being light on your feet, don't eat too much. So we go through and I'm a cheesesteak guy, so they have really good cheesesteaks in this at the hotel snack that we're having the night before the game. So, and like John Girac and Todd Rucci, they're like, yeah, man, dude, go up, man. It's all you can eat, dude. So I stood up and I walked to the line and I hear, he just went off. And I came back and they were just laughing their asses off at me. And I thought that was, you know what? I ended up getting a couple kids later in their careers. As I got older, that was with the freshman thing. We always used to get one of the freshman linemen who would travel with us, not normally, but we'd have him stand up and say, hey, you can eat all you want. Go ahead, get whatever you want. And we used to get guys yelled at. The other great lie we told, Jeff, and this might even be like local lore, but we would tell the freshmen and Joe would have it scheduled and they'd be like, the Rockview scrimmage for the freshmen, we would say that, Joe would be like, well, at the Rockview scrimmage next Friday, your freshmen be ready to go. And they'd be like looking around like, what the hell is the Rockview scrimmage and this and that? Why is he telling the freshmen? But it was the older guys telling the younger guys we used to scrimmage Rockview Prison. And it was like right out of the longest yard and stuff like that. And but you'd be sitting there and you get a couple guys a year. Some of them would be like, what the hell are you talking about? And then some of them would be like, okay, cool. All right, man. Like, should I tell my parents? Is it open? Is it like, are people allowed to attend this? Can my girlfriend come? Like, no, it's on the prison grounds, bro. You're not allowed to do not bring your girlfriend specifically or your mother. Promise you don't do that. Oh, man. Yeah, but Jeff, it's good seeing you. I mean, I can smell you. I smell your brute. Back in person, baby. So you are leaving tonight, huh? Yeah, we actually, I will be kind of bolting from here right after our show out to the airport. And team is flying out this evening. Coaches meeting tomorrow. It's interesting. We'll get into the wrestling here in a little bit, probably in the second segment. But the coaches meeting, so the pre-seeds came out yesterday. I've had a couple people ask me, like, what does that mean, pre-seeds versus seeds? And so this is what the Big Ten has put together as, this is what the seeds should be. The coaches do have, and it used to be much more contentious than I believe it is today, where, you would have coaches like battling in the coaches meeting. Man, my kid should be a 3 seed, not a 5 seed, or, more often, obviously, just a seed one way or the other. And, well, this kid did this and this kid did that.
because of the way the metrics that they use now, there's very little change, and there's very little. Hey, I think now the one exception I think that could be there this year, and I will be interested to see. I can't believe that there won't be at least any questions about it, which is at 149, where you have the top three guys all beat each other. Like they all have a win and a loss against the other two.
Round robin.
And so when you look at those three, most of the projections I saw, like Flow Wrestling and a couple of the other ones that had, hey, this is what we think the seeds are going to be. It was Ridge Levitt 1, Shane Van Ness 2, and Kyle Parko 3. The pre-seeds came out, and it's Van Ness 1, Parko 2, and Levitt, who was projected in a lot of them to be 1, 3.
Wow.
And here's the thing. There's it really comes down to I guess how you value some different things. I think the reason most, and I was buying into it, we're looking at Levitt as the likely 1 seed as well. When it comes down to it and everything else is equal, Levitt is the returning Big Ten champion. Probably put him 1, and then he beat Van Ness, but Van Ness beat Parko. So if you establish Levitt as 1, then it becomes, I think, pretty easy to put Van Ness 2 and Parko 3. What I think they ended up doing, which I think is probably the better way to do it, is, all right, let's look at the overall resume. Like the Big Ten resume is basically dead equal. And Van Ness does have, I think, the better overall resume, more quality wins against upper echelon guys than the other two. And so I think that's why the pre-seeds have Van Ness 1 and then Parko 2, Levitt 3, because again, once you establish 1, like one is lost to one of the other two, but then I think to make 2, 3, you go, well, Parko beat Levitt, Parko's 2. But again, it's how you establish 1. I think establishing 2 and 3 is easier once you establish 1. Question is, how do you establish 1? And so my guess is Mark Manning will at least, hey, we think Levitt should be 1 here. Mark Manning, the head coach of Nebraska, and can we at least discuss this? And again, I think it's worth raising the question if you're Mark Manning, because again, all 3 of those guys, and probably worth raising the question if you're Todd Brands. Hey, we think Kyle Parko should be 1 here.
Now, how much is last year's winning Big Ten? Because that obviously goes into the. I did see that. Why is Kirk Levitt not the 1? I mean, I know, we're going against cable teams, and I get that, but he is the defending, and he is undefeated.
And not only undefeated, he's been dominant. This season. But I don't think there's
would that
Kale. I don't think is going to raise any issue over it. And I think sometimes you just look at it. Hey, all right, these two are undefeated. This is the criteria. You look, national rankings aren't supposed to play into it, but I think again, if everything else is even, they probably should play into it. It's like, well, all right, Stevenson is recognized by pretty much everybody as being the number 1 guy here. Kirkley pretty much by everybody as being the number 2 guy. I think going in, again, in that particular weight, like some of the weights, including 149, it does make a difference. Again, you want as a coach and as a competitor, hey, it doesn't matter who you put in front of me. I'm going to go out there and win. And great mindset to have, and that should be the mindset you have and the approach you take. That being said, like at NCAA's, it is going to matter who is seated number 1 at 141 because you have 3 elite guys there. And again, it doesn't mean that the 2 or the 3 seed can't go out and win a national title, obviously, but they're going to have 2 elite guys that they have to beat versus if you're the number 1 seed, only one of those elite guys. So would you rather that? Sure. In this particular case at heavyweight, like at 149, I think it matters there too, because again, I think those, although I don't think Dylan D'Amelio is all that far off from those top 3. So I don't know that it matters as much as it's maybe going to be made out to be. But I think those three are probably, just a step above, or have been a step more consistent anyway throughout the season, the D'Amelio. And so the question becomes, again, would you rather be the 1 seed and only have to face the winner of that match, or versus being the 2 or 3 seed and now you have to beat 2 of those top 3 guys? At heavyweight in the Big Tens, it's just so abundantly clear that these 2 are 1 and 2, and there's some separation. There's other very good heavyweights, and I'm not disparaging anybody in the heavyweight division here in the Big Ten, but it's going to be a tremendous upset for either Kirkfleet or Stevenson not to advance to the finals. And I don't know that it really much matters in terms of the 3, 4. Like, there's not another guy there that you're like, oh, he's right there in the mix. So it's just those 2. And again, so I don't think that it really matters in that particular case who's 1 or 2. And I just don't think there's much reason to question Stevenson being 1. You're talking about one of the all-time legendary figures in the sport.
Is he going to win the Hodge, do you think, or is Scarati?
I think if he wins the national title, certainly he will get consideration for it. I think Carter Starace and Mitchell Messenbrink, I mean, right now, to be honest with you, the heavyweight that is most in line for it is Wyatt Hendrickson, the Oklahoma State heavyweight. It's just most of us are projecting that he won't be in the finals, and therefore it will be eliminated from Hodge contention. But right now, as you look at it, I mean, he is the one that is racking up the most bonus points in college wrestling. But to me, it comes down to Starace and Messenbrink. I think Starace, it is supposed to be a season honor. I do think Starace, being as dominant as he has been and having the career he has had, that is going to weigh into the decision. And Stevenson has won a Hodge. Again, could they end up like splitting it as Stevenson did with Spencer Lee the last time he won a national title? I mean, that is probably a possibility as well. I think part of it is you got to see how this thing finishes out, how all of these Hodge contenders
it's not just
fare in their conference tournaments and fare in the NCAA championships.
Is the postseason considered part of the season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big part of the season.
I thought you meant the season. It was just like the regular season. Sorry, like college football, they give the Heisman away before.
Yeah, no, the Hodge,
okay.
the Hodge, they look at the whole body of work, the entire season, postseason included.
Yeah, I mean, Gable's definitely one of those once in a lifetime type of wrestler, in my opinion. But he may lose to one of the next 3 weeks. And he also, but Starace is literally going to be the first time ever 5-time national champion. Has he has he gotten one before?
No, and that's if he gets there, because again, Parker Kakaisen is sitting there, and listen, he'll get another good test with McAnally. I'm really curious to see, presuming they both get there, and I am presuming that, but always dangerous to assume anything when it comes to postseason wrestling. But I certainly expect Starace and McAnally, who's undefeated as a freshman here for Minnesota, and I've been very impressed. I've only seen him live, on television live a couple of times, but I've gone back and watched a few of his matches. He is an impressive young man, and while I'm like everybody else expecting it'll be Starace and Kakaisen in the finals, if there is anybody out there that is going to crash that party, I think it could be McAnally, and I'm really curious to see how that match plays out, if in fact we get to see it here on Sunday.
Very happy. I mean, I'm looking. How about for a non-wrestling segment we've got?
Well, yeah,
yeah, but
I
am
wanted
looking
to
for this weekend. I mean, I was telling the Carrie, I said, this is a great sports weekend in Penn State right now with the wrestling and the hockey.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, there's really nothing home though. And I was like, well, maybe Penn State baseball. They open up tonight or tomorrow versus Indiana on a long weekend series. So
women's hockey has the AHA championship game on Saturday as well at
so that's
Pagula.
A one-gamer, right?
Yep, that'll be a 2:00 face-off at Pagula against Mercyhurst. Penn State looking for its third straight AHA championship. But yeah, you're right. Most of the action is on the road. Tough loss for the Penn State women's lacrosse team last night, falling to Princeton. Just had a couple of stretches where they just could not get goals, and Princeton kept plugging away and racking them up. So Penn State falls to I think it's 2-3 now on the young season. 2-3 or 2-4. I should look that up here in a moment, but. Penn State basketball wrapping up the season, the men on Saturday at Wisconsin. I was listening to some of our other programming during the week, and it's certainly fair to criticize. I mean, I do think this was a really talented roster and a really disappointing season given what the expectations were heading into the conference portion of the schedule. The one thing I will say, though, when you look at going into next season, it is so easy to now completely rework your roster from one season to the next.
Yep.
And we just don't know. I mean, it's fair to say that, listen, the pressure is on more than I think most of us thought it would be, Mike Rhodes, right now, in terms of, hey, you got to get this thing heading in the right direction. Now, I think he will. I remain pretty confident in that. But this is going to be a critical offseason. One, keeping the guys that you think are extremely talented here,
yep,
and still buying into the program. And, yep, we still think that we can do some special things here. That's step one, and that's not a given. And then, obviously, step two is hit that transfer portal and look for some guys that may be able to supplement the pieces you have. It's the Big Ten is such a tough conference, Goon, and it's one of those things you don't want to. It felt like Penn State had a wave of momentum. Now it feels like that has all been zapped. You want to swing it back quickly, obviously, if you can, if you're Mike Rhodes, in terms of, hey, man, look at this big name recruit we have coming in, or this big name transfer guy, and regenerate some enthusiasm and excitement for the upcoming season. I will say, I've talked to a handful of fans over the last week, and I do think the general sentiment is, it's just Penn State basketball. It's we know, we're used to it. Here we go again. We got our hopes up. We shouldn't have done that. We'll see. Again,
cool with that.
it's understandable. I mean, they've been there, and again, the expectations coming out of and I was right there, projecting it
no doubt.
as well. I really thought this team was going to be at the other end of the conference, like battling it out night in and night out. I think we had a couple of conversations. Like, I don't know if they can be a top 3 or 4 team, but I don't know that they can't be a top 3 or 4 team in the conference by the time the season ends. And listen, with the athleticism that they had shown and the point scoring prowess,
and the inside game,
when it came unhinged and they could not win the close games, it fed upon itself, and then they had a stretch there where they really weren't competitive, and that was probably the most disheartening part of the entire season. Now they got their feet back under them, were competitive again, a couple of heartbreaking losses again then down the stretch where you felt like, man, all right, maybe they'll at least get into the Big Ten tournament. I'm still not sure I'm not enamored with the 15-team format. I know Rhodes expressed some displeasure, and I've heard some other coaches talking about it as well. I understand the challenges with the 18 teams. I also think that's the conference you have. One of the things that has separated basketball, every sport has different things that separate itself. But basketball you always had that hope, man, we can just catch fire at the end of the season in the postseason
years ago
tournament.
They did.
Yep. And so not having that opportunity. Now, again, the other part of it is, do I really think a 16, 17, or 18 seed is going to win more than a couple of games? I do not. And so I get it as far as it goes. I don't think this is Penn State would have been in the NCAA if only they had. No, I don't think that. But I do think, you ought to get that figured out where you can have all 18 teams in. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
As it is, the reality is Penn State is on the outside looking in. And again, it's been a devastating season. I mean, it really has, Goon. There's no two ways around that. Injuries certainly played a role in it, but also, man, they weren't able to get over the hump in those close games, and then that just seemed to wane the confidence, and they just had a very difficult time getting back on track, and really were never able to fully get back on track this season. So I think a critical offseason, again, coming up for Penn State, and certainly a critical season next year, I think, for this program, because if you have another season where, let's say, you don't even make the Big Ten tournament, then it becomes a real uphill battle. Now, again, if you turn around and you're a top 10 team in the conference next year, you're borderline NCAA, even if you don't get in, I think, all right, you start to feel good about the trajectory and the direction of the program. But it's a big year.
Crazy, man, with the portal stuff.
It's
like we're Mike's second year, so it's like he had one team last year, and he had to recruit that whole first team, and then he had to recruit this whole team now, and now he's got to recruit another third team straight. So it's like, and it's not just Penn State being a lower tier team, it's just the way college basketball is in general. I don't know I don't even know what channel it is, but I saw an Instagram interview with Rick Pitino, and they have one of those Pitino shows on now, and they have the Arkansas's coach, the old Kentucky coach,
Pitino.
No, but the other one who just left there. Sorry. But Pitino was talking, and he was like, "Yeah, well, we're not even going to recruit a high school kid this year. We're just going to go straight port." And he's like, literally just laying it out there. He's like, "Well, it's not really worth going after high school kids because you can get kids right now who are proven a little bit at that collegiate level, and then just go out and recruit them, and you don't have to worry about missing on a high school kid." And that is my fear for the big guy in the middle, Niederhausen, or what? Yeah, there's somebody coming in and grabbing him because he is a hell of an inside presence. I call him Conan. That's what I like.
Yep.
He just wear that in the back of his jersey, Conan. But that's what I worry about him. So that's Mike's biggest thing right there is retaining that guy, and then going out and getting some players. I mean, hopefully high school kids that he could build up. And, they go out and recruit the type of kid that he wants. He had Ace and Kern on his team. They were both from VCU. He recruited those kids in high school and then bought them to Penn State from VCU. He needs a couple of those that come into Penn State, and he can groom and teach the way from the start. But, football is a little bit different because, we've always said that why recruit high school offensive linemen? Why would you do that? Because that is the biggest position of miss. So why don't you just wait a year or two, let them go to a smaller Division I school, and if they succeed there, say, hey, your shot is with us right now. go in and pillage the freshman starting left tackle from a MAC school and say, rather than taking a chance on a kid out of high school, and I'm just talking about offensive linemen specifically, because there are a lot of hit misses in offensive linemen on the high school recruiting. So why even waste money? Just go into the transfer portal to get your offensive linemen. And that scares me that's where it might go. But it seems like basketball's already there. I mean, they're just going to recruit new 5-6 guys every year, have your same 4 GPA players on the bench on the end, the walk-on guys and stuff like that. That's my other question. Football's 105. Is basketball going to lose walk-ons? Are
yes.
other sports going to lose? So you're either a scholarship guy or nothing.
Correct.
In wrestling.
In everything.
So we've talked about how Penn State
and
might not do.
And no longer do you have the it's full scholarship.
So there's no more breaking them up.
Correct.
So you go from a room right now.
So it's a head count.
Have 36 guys, right? Is that what roughly is in the Penn State roster right now? And if they want to give them all scholarships, they're down to 31. Correct?
30.
30.
Yep.
So you're going to lose 6 players, and then basketball. There's always I always call them the last 3 guys in the Metro named GP and A.
Yeah.
But so those guys are going to be gone. So in basketball, you're literally you're going to use 12. You're going to use 12 scholarships right off the get, and that's your team. No walk-ons, no nothing like that. Crazy.
Yeah, I think eventually we had Katie Schumacher-Colley on, the head coach of the women's volleyball team on, my gosh, the days are running together. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday this week. And we were talking a little bit about, so women's volleyball, it will be down to an 18-person roster. So more scholarships, but fewer roster spots. And she, not surprisingly, is not a fan of that because they've, I guess, generally carried in the low 20s on the roster.
Now, we're talking best practice.
And I think eventually what's going to happen, and she seemed to because I threw this out there as this whole world keeps changing and evolving. And what I think is going to happen, and nobody knows, but I think eventually, like the coaches in these sports, unfortunately, I think the sports are going to shrink. I think all of these Olympic sports are not going to have as many programs as they have now at the Division I, or what we think of as the Division I level. And I think it's going to happen fairly quickly, like over the next 5 years, we'll get a pretty good idea of where we're at. I think at that point, those schools, I think the conferences are going to get together with those schools in those sports, say, all right, what makes sense for you guys? Give us the scholarship numbers. Let's get the coaches together. Let's get the scholarships figured out, and let's get the roster size figured out. That makes sense for you guys. Those of you that are committed to providing these big-time opportunities, are you okay with having some? That's my guess. I could be completely wrong about that, but I think eventually we're going to kind of swing back, and it's like, all right, yep, we don't need 30 scholarships. We certainly needed more than the 9.9 in wrestling. We don't need 30 scholarships, but we do need like 35, 36 bodies in the room.
Sure.
Because this sport beats the heck out of you. And it's just, and when you add in the, skin issues, and we're a winter sport, so you're dealing with all of the winter viruses that everybody gets hit with on every campus every winter, like the numbers need to be up and so again, this is just my guess, but I think the conferences are going to get together with the coaches of those sports, and they're going to get to, again, I don't know that everybody's going to be rejoicing and yep, this is exactly right. Everybody's going to have some different thoughts, but my guess is eventually we'll get back to, I don't know what the number will be, 12 scholarships for women's volleyball, or 14. But hey, yeah, you can have up to 24 players on your roster if you want. We're going to go to 20. I'm completely making up the numbers. 22 scholarships for wrestling, but you can have 36 kids in the room. I think eventually that's where we're going to get.
Because I'm just going to say Lock Haven. So if they want to have, well, you say that the Lock Haven, and we know Coach Moore very well. You know him a lot better than I do.
Yeah,
I know him through my ties with the Lock Haven wrestling guys, and that is that he doesn't even use 9-9 scholarships as of now.
Not even close.
Okay, so
I don't know what the exact number
even
right
go,
at the moment, but it's under
go to
6.
15 fulls. They have 15 guys in the room.
No, they'll be allowed to have more guys. They'll be allowed to have, my understanding is, non-scholarship athletes in the room, but it's an all or nothing proposition, and that's what I think. Again,
so no one can wrestle for them if they're not a full rider.
Needs to change. I don't think that's the case. I think you can have non-scholarship wrestlers competing.
Oh, you but just mean there's no helping them.
Correct. Like right now, the 9.9 might be spread in some rooms among 25 guys. And other rooms it might be spread among 12 guys. But I think most teams have the way it used to be, and I think this has changed over the years, but it used to be most schools targeted in on 4 or 5 guys.
Yep.
And it's like if they needed the help, the full ride, yep, you're elite, right, coming out of high school, full ride coming your way. And then you tried to supplement the rest of your roster with as good a guys as you could get for half a scholarship, 3/4 here, quarter there, and try to build depth and then fill in the rest of your starting roles with that. That has changed a little bit over the years. And again, it depends on the school, depends on the situation. It is going to be curious to me to see how this shakes out with some of these Olympic sports, non-revenue sports, in terms of, like, if it is a case where, all right, you and I think with women's volleyball, if I understood Katie right, and maybe I actually, now that you're saying that, I got to look into it with wrestling, but like that, yes, you are capping that roster, but it's also the number of scholarships that you can give. I don't know that all of the roster spots have to be scholarship athletes, but you can. But it's all head count now in terms of the scholarships. So you can't. At least my understanding is you can no longer. Hey, we'll give a half scholarship here, a half scholarship there, and again, on the surface, that may seem like a great thing. In reality, again, it makes it impossible for a school like Lock Haven to be anywhere close to competitive with obviously a Penn State, and you could argue, well, they haven't been for a long time. I get it, and there's always been a disparity. That gulf is just widening so greatly now that when we say not competitive, like, if they wrestled 10 times in a decade, you might win 2 bouts, maybe. I mean, like, that's the type of disparity we're talking about moving forward. So I don't think that's going to be healthy.
It's just craziness. It's you're either all in or you're out. There's no doubt about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, and it sucks. It really does. I don't know this. Maybe you could help me out here. Like, when you were splitting scholarships up, was there like animosity in the locker room?
I don't think so. First of all, I don't know if they knew.
Guys talk, though.
I don't know. I don't know if they do. You talk
saying,
about how much you're.
I mean, in the NFL,
how much grant money are you getting? I don't know if
everybody knows each other's salary. Everybody knows, but that is also a printed thing. So maybe that's the difference. But you knew what guys were making,
and I don't know. I mean, maybe they did. I've never talked to any of the guys. It's not something I've talked to. And over the years, not talked to them about, hey, do you know how much?
That's why you're only getting books. That's why you're not getting your housing.
That's right.
That's crazy, man.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We have a few comments. We'll address those when we come back as we roll on. It is our Thursday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. We will talk a little bit more about the Big Ten Wrestling Championships coming up here this weekend out in Evanston, Illinois. Northwestern serving as the host this year. And Penn State, again, will have 3 2 seeds, 5 1 seeds, at least according to the pre-seeds, should emphasize that, and then 2 4 seeds. Again, I think, to me, the only one that might be in question, and I'm not expecting it to change, but the only one that I think realistically could change would be Shane Van Ness, who right now is pre-seeded number 1 at 149. We're coming right back with more on this Thursday edition on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
2 of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates, Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys 98.7 The Fox, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on this Thursday afternoon, and Did have a couple people weighing in. Guys, Mark says, guys, we will never be a consistently above normal basketball school. I attended Penn State in the mid-1970s, and we have never been and never will be a good basketball school. And now we have to pay to keep these kids. The girls squad, I think a coaching change should be made. Great show as always. Well, we certainly agree with the last part. Very good observation by you at the end.
And I'm with the basketball thing. I have a theory on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're asking kids to come here. I mean, I know we've come from a very, very rich, talented area in the Philadelphia, South Jersey, DC, Baltimore area, and New York. And then we have a lot of great basketball around us, but there are also a lot of basketball schools. And you're going to ask a guy like a supposed star, 5'4", 3-4, 5-star player to say, I'm not going to go to any of those schools in the Northeast. I'm going to go to Penn State. And I have always thought the knock on Penn State was always the Penn State basketball is like you're always going to be second fiddle. The football program is the cream of the crop up there. That's who the people love. And I mean, hell, even wrestling's even probably more well known than some of the basketball guys right now. I mean, I think they are because wrestlers are so like you could see them and you know exactly right away it's a wrestler. So, and then you can see their whole faces. But I've always thought like the guys who come here to play basketball who are stars, you're going to play second fiddle. Like you go out and a girl might know the backup corner's name where they might not know the starting forward's name on a basketball team. And it's just one of those things where it takes a special person to come here and to realize that. But it is changing. And then if you do have the NIL money, you can get guys here. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. I think there's when I was a student here, what was always talked about was that it's just not an urban enough area. You can't get the city players to come. And that just never I think there was some truth to it. But I also, like, you look around, it's not like Durham, North Carolina is exactly the hotbed for inner city nightlife. And lots of other rural communities had very good basketball programs over the years.
And your football program is not just corn-fed white boys.
I think there's a lot of that was the other thing. It's while football is so clearly king, it's like, well, okay, but like Ohio State football's king, and they've had some great basketball teams over the years. And you can go down the list. I do think that for a long time, the commitment to basketball was not comparable to what the great programs were doing. And it was almost like the small market basketball teams they were trying to use, or small market baseball teams, they were trying to use that approach where we can catch lightning in a bottle and we'll get this to set up perfectly. And so every once in a while we can make that great run, but we're not going to consistently compete at the highest level. I think, to your point, Goon, I think in this day and age, with everything that is now available, Penn State should be positioned to be able to make a run. I'm not saying they're going to be the team that is consistently heading to the Sweet 16 and will be in the Final Four every other year type of thing. But yeah, I think over a 10-year period, it is not unrealistic for Penn State, with everything it has going for it, as a school, I'm talking about, as an athletic program, and even now as a basketball program, to me, out of a 10-year period, yeah, you ought to be in the NCAA tournament more often than not, 6 or 7 times over that 10-year period. You ought to be making a Sweet 16 run at least a few times over that, 3 times over that 10-year period. And yeah, I think somewhere in there, you ought to be able to at least make a run toward a Final Four. There's obviously a lot of things that have to go right for you to be a Final Four team, but I think that part of it has been the mindset of Penn State, where it's like, yeah, we're not a basketball school. Well, I mean, if you're saying you're not a basketball school, you're not a basketball school. I think if you make the commitment, and Pat Kraft has made the commitment. I mean, I think Mike Rhodes is making the commitment, has made the commitment. Pat Kraft is making the commitment. Like, if we're going to have a basketball team, we're going to do everything we can to go make this a successful basketball program. And I really thought they were on pace to prove it almost out of the gates here in year 2 under Mike Rhodes. And then again, obviously things got away. I'm never a fan of using the word never. Anytime I just go back when I was working at KDK in Pittsburgh, I worked on Jerome Bettis' show as like the producer of that show behind the scenes, just answer calls. And we would have folks call in periodically. It's like, hey, Bill Cowher will never win a Super Bowl. And it's like, and I would talk to these people off air. It's like, well, I mean, you might be right, because it's really hard to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Like, it's not like an automatic thing for any coach. And there have been many great coaches, I would argue, great coaches who never won a Super Bowl. But we're still great coaches. Marty Schottenheimer.
That's my go-to.
Don Coryell. I mean, there's a number of them. It's like, yeah, I still think they were great coaches. But regardless, there's a lot of things that have to come together. The Penn State will never be a basketball school. You're accurate to say it never has been, right? I mean, it just has been. Yeah. They've had some great seasons, great moments, but it's not been a basketball school. There's no disputing that. To say that it never can be, I just don't buy it. I think, again, things change. I mean, listen, there was a bunch of years there where I was told Penn State Wrestling will never win a national title. Well, you never know when. Obviously, everything changed. The complete landscape of college wrestling changed when Cale took the Penn State job. But that's what I mean. I mean, you never know what the future may bring. I really do think Mike Rhodes can get the program to the point that I'm talking about, where over a 10-year period, you're making the tournament more often than not. And you're making a couple of runs anyway at the Sweet 16, and somewhere in there, you might make that run at the Final Four. I don't know how you define a basketball school. I don't know if you need to be as consistently great as Duke has been over the years. If that's your standard, okay, I might agree. They're not going to be a basketball school, but I think they can be a basketball school, meaning they can be competitive year in and year out in the Big Ten. They can get to the tournament more often than not, and they can make some runs. Again, over a 10-year period, can make 3 runs or more, getting to the Sweet 16 or better. I think that's not an unrealistic aspiration for this program. And I really think Mike Rhodes is a coach that can get that done. I do think he's got to adjust some things. I'm with everybody else that, some of the late game situations, I don't think were handled real well this season. But I think, like James Franklin and what we've seen throughout his career, I think Mike Rhodes is going to learn from it. Hey, we need to adjust this. I need to adjust this. We need to work on that. We need to get better players here, better depth there. And I just think they're going to keep. I think they're going to keep building that.
Yep. Losing Puff this year. Obviously, if you had more depth, that wouldn't be such a game changer. But it's obviously it was. There's no doubt about it. You can't really hide around it. So I'm in my head thinking, and it's scary to say that, but what do you think the percentage of the NFL coaches that have Super Bowl wins? In my head, I'm like, it's less than a quarter of the coaches in the league.
For sure.
I mean, that'd be 8 coaches, and I'm just like sitting there. Because one in the NFC.
It's hard to win, man.
It's crazy.
Again, it's one team each year, and if you have a run like the Patriots had or the Chiefs have had, well then it gets pretty sparse pretty quickly.
I mean, I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, it's below 8
opportunities. Oh, for sure. Also have a question, Denny. Well, not a question, a statement. When they split scholarships, it can be supplemented with other types of grants.
Now that would be the need-based grants and merits and stuff like that.
I think Denny's talking about prior to the current rules.
Okay. So you're talking about
what I think he's talking about.
Other than the 9-9 scholarships, but somebody could win a scholarship, because that's when I was Division III coaching. It was all need-based grants and merit-based grants on your academics and stuff like that. So that's the Ivy League way. So, is that a possibility for a wrestler to have a grant and aid, but still not be on full scholarship or a scholarship and be?
I'll see if I can get clarification on that this week. I don't believe that's the case. Right? My understanding is it is just it becomes a head count sport now as well, where it is if you're on scholarship, it's a full scholarship. There is no opportunity for partial scholarship, and then we'll see what we can supplement around it.
Well, we are in agreement, though. The only thing the biggest thing that this affects is the practice room, with the lack of head count.
I don't know if it's. It will affect that. I think what it's really going to affect is the overall opportunities for high school kids in these sports to,
even though there's more scholarships,
play collegiately. Yeah, because I don't think there will be more scholarships. I think there will be fewer scholarships that are actually out there, because there will be fewer programs.
Yeah, what you're saying is, if you're no longer a half a scholarship, you're either a full scholarship or a full pay.
That is my understanding. I'm pretty confident I'm right about that.
On paper, if it's apples to apples, that's a good thing, because there's more scholarships to available. But in the real world, not everybody is going to do 30 scholarships. Not everybody's going to do 15. Not everybody's going to do 10.
Well, not only that, not everybody's going to keep the sport.
Yeah.
Because of that. Because, again, I don't know. Denny confirms. Yeah, he was talking prior to the new rule. Yes, and that was certainly done across the board. It's everything keeps changing, and so I don't want to get too caught up in, at the moment. It is at the moment. This is the reality. My guess is this is going to change again fairly quickly, like within the next 2 or 3 years anyway, and it could be as early as next year, where, all right, let's reassess, let's look at what makes sense. And again, I'm anticipating that it is the conferences listening to the coaches in these respective sports that are going to be spearheading the future here. That seems pretty clear. It's not the NCAA is going to be taking the lead on this moving forward. I think it's going to be primarily the Big Ten and the SEC, but also the ACC and the Big 12.
Did you read into the settlement with the ACC at all? They said 29 and 30. 2029 and 2030 is when they're, can get out type of thing.
Yes.
And I wonder if that was some kind of target year, that maybe that's what they're looking to say, okay, this is going to be the big break.
They'll just fold in, whatever.
I saw that, and I was like, okay, well, I could see that, living by these rules for another 4 years, and then going from there and just having it set up right. Because what they've done in the last 5-10 years is just complete bullcrap. It's just fly by night, like, yes, do it. NIL. Yeah, okay, do it. There's never been any thinking going in. Transfer portal. Sure, do it. Oh, let's play the national championship game in late January when school's already 3 weeks old. Let's do it. It's just, there's no forward thinking, and I think that this might be that. Might be. Skeptical might, but it is what it is.
Yes, I would tend to believe that's going to be the case as well. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we will talk some Big Ten wrestling and look at some of the pre-seeds anyway for the Nittany Lions and some of the matches that folks are expecting to see and looking forward to in the upcoming weekend as we continue. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are here at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. Great place to come down and watch all of your favorite sports. TVs all over the place. Great food, great beverages, and great service here at the Lube. And by the way, love the new floors.
Oh, it's great.
Love the new chairs with the tables. Great stuff here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Again, we're coming right back here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fall.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
WFXS, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
Back here at Quaker Steak and Lube, again, 4:30 this afternoon. We resume our coverage of the PIAA State Wrestling Championships as Todd and Norm Brown will bring you all of the action from Hershey of the AAA tournament, which will get underway at 4:30. We have 3 State College wrestlers and one from Bellefonte that'll be competing here from Center County. Ezra Swisher going for Bellefonte, Nick Barina going for State College, along with James Whitbread and returning PIAA state champion Asher Cunningham. So all of that action, again, will be rolling your way here at 4:30 this afternoon on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox, and Big Ten Wrestling Championships on
You're
tap
back
here
to work.
Saturday and Sunday.
You got lazy in your 2 weeks off,
Yes,
Ironhead.
indeed.
Jeez, spoiled.
Looking forward to it. It should be obviously high expectations for Penn State. Should be fun for Penn State fans, but really should be some great wrestling throughout the tournament. Again, I think all of the seeds for Penn State are pretty well locked in, with the possible exception of Shane Van Ness at 149. I'll be curious to see, one, if it is challenged. I'm certainly expecting it to be challenged.
Please go through that routine with me.
Yeah, so the pre-seeds, again, are,
yes,
that's the general guideline, and then the coaches have a meeting. I think it's usually at noon on Friday, and they go over format, procedures, challenges, all of those things. And then I've never been in it, but what I've been told is that then does anybody have any problems with the seeds? I don't know, the problems is the word that's used. Any issues that you want to raise with the seeds, and coaches can, hey, yeah, I think my guy who's seated here should be seated a spot higher or 2 spots higher, whatever the case may be. And usually the coaches will go in with and this is why I have, these are the reasons why. I think most of the time now you can anticipate, all right, this is 1 or 2 spots where maybe there might be issues raised. And so the other coaches who would be affected, or their kids would be affected, will say, well, listen, we think the pre-seeds are right because this, and this. And then the coaches will take a vote. And they can vote to change the seed. Again, 149 really, to me, is just a toss-up between the 3. And I think the overall resume for Shane Van Ness is better, but I also, in the conference, I mean, Lovett beat Van Ness by more than Parco beat Lovett, or than Van Ness beat Parco, which, again, I don't know that how much if at all that's factored. But if I'm Mark Manning, I'm going into that meeting, I'm saying, hey, my guy beat the number 1 seed here more convincingly than Parco beat my guy. Our guy should be number 1. And, I don't know if Manning cares who's 2 or 3 there. So we'll see.
Does where the match happened come into play?
It could. I'm sure the coaches. This one was over there. This one was at our place, and yes, I'm sure that if you're arguing, you're making the.
I mean, are some coaches like, I don't care
one way or the other?
My personal thing.
Kale is largely
like,
yes.
Whatever, dude, we're gonna
Kale
go.
is largely
because I don't
that
see the
way.
difference in 2 and 3 because you're going to see each other, right?
Correct. Yeah, I don't know. Now, yes and no, depending on the situation. And this is where, again, I think at some point you just, hey, either you trust that your guy's going to go out and do it or not. So if let's just say theoretically, there is a guy out there who is really good on top, like not a great overall wrestler, not a top contender, but man, that guy on top, just he can throw legs in, and your guy struggles underneath, and you're looking at the, well, this guy's the 7 seed, we're the 2 seed. You might go in and, yeah, you know what? We agree that the other guy should be the 3 seed. I mean, sometimes you'll get a matchup where a coach is like, I just do not see that guy for whatever reason. We just think he's a little dangerous or a little funky or whatever the case may be, and you're trying to move usually up to get out of that particular matchup. Yes, at the end of the day, you got to go out and you're either beating the guy to win a Big Ten title or a national title. You're either beating the guy that is the guy, or you're beating the guy who beat the guy. Somewhere along the way, that's what you've got to do to go win it. Now, that being said, can it affect, again, your preference would be certainly, hey, I'd rather just see either Kyle Parco or Ridge Lovett and just have that one bout rather than hey, I've got to go beat both Ridge Levitt and Kyle Parko. I think both Shane Van Ness and Kyle Sanderson, we're fine if you want to line up, and we got to beat them both because that's what our plan is anyway. We'll go out. And so I think part of it is just the degree to which you're going to get in your own head as a coach or an athlete and make it out to be even more than it is. Part of it is, hey, we want to create the best opportunity for the highest seed for our guy at Nationals. And again, largely Penn State's attitude under Kyle Sanderson has been, put us where you want. Carter Starachi would be the first to I don't care if you seed me 14. I really don't. Seed me 14 and watch what I go out and do. So it's
goodbye one.
It's just part of the mindset again that I think you have. Again, to me everything else is pretty locked in. Okay. I could be wrong, but I think Luke Lillidahl is clearly the 4 seed. I've thought all along Braden Davis would be the 4 seed. I saw some things saying that he might be a 5 or a 6. That just didn't make sense to me. 4 is where I think he should be, and I'll be very surprised if there's any adjustment there. And then the other ones are really clear cut. I mean, Bartlett obviously.
You said 4-4-2 on Tuesday. Do we go 5?
Yeah, 5 1 seeds with Van Ness because I thought Lovett would be the 1 seed. And still, again, I'll be really curious to see how that shakes out and then what the rationale is. And again, I think all 3 of those guys can make legitimate arguments that they should be the 1 seed. And I think there's compelling reasons why all 3 should be 1, 2, or 3. So I'll be curious to see how that ultimately shakes out here at the coaches meeting tomorrow. Tyler Kasak is very clearly the 2 seed just because of the Ethan Miller. It stinks that match didn't go to the end, but you can't presume a result. And listen, and let's be clear too, it wasn't like Kasak was clearly on his way to a win. Do I think he was going to win it? Of course, but it was a 1-0 bout. It wasn't like he had just gone out and established clear dominance. And Ethan Miller is a very good wrestler.
And I don't like how he celebrated. I know some of the guys didn't like that either.
I think it'll be remembered if the opportunity presents itself, which I don't think it will. I really think Ja'Cory Teamer, that'll be a very intriguing semifinal, assuming it occurs, and I think it will. I think Ja'Cory Teamer is just a little better. Not a lot. I think Ethan Miller is a very good wrestler. I think he'll be an All-American. But I think Tyler Kasak and Ja'Cory Teamer both are a little better at the end of the day.
So you said there's 14 teams, and there's, each coach can bring up some issues and this and that.
Yeah.
I'm going to fast forward 2 weeks. How the hell do they do the Nationals?
That is just set.
There's no coaches because it's got to be like 65 schools, 70 schools.
That is locked in.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the
and
committee.
That also plays
the committee
into it too,
because, and that's it.
Do you think that why some coaches are like, hey, we want the 1 seed, we don't want the 2 or 3 because we want that for the Nationals and stuff like that. But I get
I think
come down to who wins on Saturday or Sunday night.
Yeah, I think that's dangerous thinking if you start going down that route with the way you just got to be ready. Just go wrestle whoever.
That's what I absolutely freaking love about Kale. It's just like, yeah, dude, whatever.
But again,
we're going to go. We're going to get at it.
Yeah, I think the other ones, again, Messenbrink obviously is a 1 seed. Haynes is obviously a 1 seed. Starachi obviously a 1 seed. Barr locked in at 2, and Kirkfleet. Again, I guess you could make the argument he could be a 1, but he'll be the 2 seed, and I don't think anybody with Penn State has a problem with that going into the Big Ten tournament. So
that's the biggest match I'm looking forward to. Some people are saying Starachi and the other guy. as the big match of the year.
McAnally. Yeah, I think
come on,
the
this is
two
Gable and Kirklevitt going.
Yeah, the two that I'm probably looking forward to a little more than those are. I'm really curious to see Lillidahl and Ramos, assuming they both get to the semifinal bout. I just think Luke Lillidahl has figured some things out here, and about 6 weeks ago now, just took that next jump that you see a lot of the elite guys do during that freshman campaign. And I think he is ready to apply the lessons learned here throughout his freshman season to very good use. Now, Ramos is clearly a national title contender, and I think that bout is just going to be very entertaining and really interesting to watch it from a tactical standpoint, like what both wrestlers do, what both wrestlers show, and then obviously if they meet in a couple of weeks, what adjustments both make based off of the meeting here in what would be a Big Ten semifinal bout. And then, at 133, Braden Davis and Drake Ayala would meet in the semifinals as well. And I think that is a really intriguing matchup here for Braden Davis, who obviously put together a great Big Ten tournament a year ago and won the Big Ten title at 125 and ended up going in as the 1 seed at the NCAA tournament. I think Davis is right there. And again, if he is feeling good, and by all accounts, he's feeling very good right now, both physically and mentally, I think he is a guy that is really, really dangerous here for Penn State. And then the other one that I think, there's 3 other matchups that I'm really looking forward to, potential matchups. Bo Bartlett and Jesse Mendez, you can just sign me up to watch that any and every day of the week. Those are 2 great wrestlers, both from great families. And it's everything the sport should be. They're 2 guys that go out and they love to compete. And when the competition's over, they shake hands and go on with their lives. Like, it's not an end-all, be-all situation. It's important. They both want to win really badly, but I think they both have a really good perspective, and I think it comes from their families. But I think it's going to be a really, really fun match, presuming we get to see it again here in the Big Ten finals. And then I'm telling you, at 197, Josh Barr and Jacob Cardenas in the semifinals in a rematch potentially of the dual meet that Barr won with that late reversal in the tiebreaker. Cardenas is really good on top, and I think Barr learned some things in the match and was able to adjust, obviously, getting the 2 points when you needed it right at the end. I think Cardenas will have a little different approach this time around. I'm really curious to see that. And if Barr gets by Cardenas, and I think both of them are legit national title contenders here. Again, to me, at least going into the NCAA tournament, it feels like there's 4 guys there that are really in the mix. Now, you can always get somebody else that's red hot and, hey, surprise, crashing the party. But to me, going in, there's 4 guys that have just been kind of a little ahead of the rest of the pack. And it's Barr, Cardenas, and Stephen Buchanan will be the 1 seed here for Iowa. And then obviously AJ Ferrari who I think is going to be really dangerous here when the postseason rolls around.
I didn't think he was wrestling.
AJ is for Cal State. So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's going to be
like can I say something?
Big Tens will be fun because I think the winner of the Big Ten championships will be the 1 seed, even if it's Barr Cardenas over an undefeated Ferrari, just because the overall resume and the
my guy Barr is going to wrestle like that idiot. I can't wait. That's my guy. He's my new guy. Bar.
Yeah, he's special.
Yeah. So
now,
I got to go back to
Cardenas and Buchanan are special too. I'll point out.
So you know how sometimes they say that people who love their job, they don't mind going to work at night. This is you when it comes to that wrestling. Like this,
that is
you're
for
into
sure.
it, dude. Like you do love it. I mean, it's very special, dude. That's awesome.
No,
I can hear
this time of the year,
the joy in your voice.
Well, so this time of the year, I will say, like, and I love Cale's approach, which is, and they do in that room, they treat every day the same. Like it is, man, we're coming in upbeat, we're coming in with energy, we're going to work to get a little bit better today. We're going to have fun competing, the whole bit, and you wouldn't know walking into that room really whether it was June 3rd or March 7th. The approach in that room is the same from the coaches and the energy level. Now,
does he get mad?
Oh yeah,
like the old man used to get mad. And you would know, and you would, it would be a tougher type of practice.
Not in that regard. And listen,
he's so level-headed.
Well, in large part, yeah, I will say so.
Sorry, I mean, I jumped.
No, it's fine. Because it was interesting. Dan Gable did that thing with Jim Gibbons, the Iowa State coach, when Iowa State beat Iowa, and the lore is that. On the way home, Gable stopped the bus. I think it was 6 miles from the practice room, made the wrestlers wrestle. I forget if it was 6 or 9, whatever it was. 9 might have been 9. Made them run to the room, and then they had a practice. And Gable kind of coyly said, I can guarantee you we practiced, or I can affirm that we definitely did practice. The other stuff might have happened. So,
oh my God.
The thing about that is, and listen, that was largely the approach that I think most coaches, most successful coaches at all levels took was, all right, you lose. It's like a punishment, but a punishment with the idea that it's going to make you tougher and want to win more next time around. The issue is you're also beating the body down during that. Now, it depends a little bit time of the year and all of that. I mean, there are times where, all right, maybe you do that and it does pay dividends later. It does make you mentally tougher. What Cale's approach is, and listen, part of it is, again, you've got to recruit the right kids. So part of why Cale doesn't get angry generally in practice is he has a bunch of kids that he already knows are going to be in there working their tail off. Like, they're not taking a day off. They're not in there trying to see what they can get away with. They're all in there because man, we are trying to achieve the ultimate goal in collegiate wrestling, and a lot of them are doing that with an eye toward what we're really trying to do is get ourselves into a position where we can go win gold medals at the World Games or at the Olympics. So you have very highly motivated individuals who are not needing the coaches to, all right, we need to prod you. We need you to give a little more. Like, these guys are asking, what can I do to, you tell me what I need to do and I'll do it type of thing. But they have the Cale's approach is, I want you to look forward to the opportunity to wrestle and compete again. And so having a negative experience with the sport, and again, losing is a negative experience, but I mean, adding to a negative experience through my actions, that's not going to ultimately make us a better team, not going to make you a better wrestler. I want you to enjoy, and if you're making mistakes and we want to learn from them. Now, if I am sure if there was a day, and I've just I have not been up there as much just because of the radio station duties I have, I've not been up there anywhere near as much as I normally have been in recent years. But if there was a day where, man, it just felt like everybody was lagging and, man, I can tell you guys aren't taking this seriously. I mean, yeah, it would anger them. Again, these guys are so motivated. They do such a good job on the recruiting front. And, the kids come from great families. I mean, they really do. These are they are not expecting to have stuff handed to them. They want to go out and earn it, and they want to learn, and they want to work their tail off because they, again, are trying to become the best they can be and trying to, achieve the ultimate in their sport. And they have a pretty clear understanding that you don't do that by, all right, seeing if I can hide out in the corner here and not let Coach see me while I'm just. So that is a big part of it.
There are things that athletes don't want to, that they're just not feeling it. There are days like that, and then a good coach can recognize that and get that out of them.
Yeah, and I think part of it. So I do think part of it is the communication that this staff has with the students is also as good or better than anything I've seen. So, you might have a guy come in and say, man, whatever I've just been stressed over the exams this week. I'm just letting you know, I'm on fumes today. I want to get through it. And so, all right, well, let's maybe adjust a little bit. Let's maybe in that situation, let's focus more on the conditioning today, and we'll go more on the mat tomorrow, or vice versa. Again, depending on what the situation is. So I think part of it is these guys, yes, being honest and upfront, and Cal talks a lot to them about let us help you, but the way we can help you is you got to let us know what's going on. If there's, and again, life happens, man. You could be having girlfriend problems.
That's a big.
Hey, share with us so that we know what's going on, and we can try to
sharing that. Okay, you got in football, you have your position coach, you have your position leader, I guess you would say, your senior captains.
Yeah, I think it's a combination.
There's Kale, the senior leadership, the elder guys on the team, they have a good rapport with them type of thing, or is it the assistants who have the rapport with the players?
I think it's all of them. Yeah, I think it's all of them. And listen, that they also, between the counselors and the strength coach, there's enough guys that are, and the wrestlers know, they trust, all of these guys, this entire support staff, they are here to help these guys become the best that they can be. So
you earn that.
At some point, you might not want to talk to your coach about one thing. Well, that's why the coach is, hey, you have counselors over here. You can go to them.
Yep.
You're training with the strength coach. Maybe that's the person. The relationship between mental health and physical health, we are learning more and more, is a pretty direct relationship. So maybe you're in there getting rehab for your knee injury, and the trainer's like, it feels like something else is going on. Is there something else going on? Well, yeah, let's see if we can, work this out with this. So it's everybody kind of pushing toward the same goal, and keeping the lines of communication open, and again, forming that trust. And it also helps that you have the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club guys in there, where you have guys who have been through this at the collegiate level and are just a year or two out in some cases from going through the college experience, and so they've gone through it. They know the relationship issues, the academic issues, whatever it may be. Again, it's a whole host of things. that can come into play.
Yep. And there is private stuff you don't want coaches to know.
For sure.
There is definitely some stuff out there that guys have done and women have done that, I don't need coach finding out about this, but I'm in a jam. And that's –
Yep,
we had Dave Eukelson. He was amongst us for 4 or 5 years, but that's a guy you can go to because I don't know if I would be able to. If you didn't want the coaches to know, who do you go to?
Yeah,
and that's why I've always said football players that the closest people that they have in their life is their strength coach, because you are literally at your physically weakest with them.
Yeah,
because they are beating you down so much and making you better and this and that you see them 300 of the 365 days a year, that you have a great football-wise.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, wrestling, there's a lot of different things. I have always, I was talking to Landon Tangwell the other day about, mentorship and stuff like that. Landon's my guy. I love him. He's doing great work. I try to tell him, hey, ease up on this and do this better, and you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And it's a mentor type of thing. And I'm like, and then we were talking about the differences and stuff like that. And then, there's a collegiate program. Like a couple nights ago, they had a career night for our football players where, a lot of big businesses came in and started talking to the guys and stuff like that. And you're joining the real world. And I said that I had known a guy, Tucker Marson, who was Mac Marson's brother. Mac was, you remember Mac Marson in the late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
But his brother Tucker would play against me. He was a little younger one against me. So, but Tucker was like, at Northwestern, every player has two mentors. Somebody who plays your position that's from your hometown type of thing, or sort of similar background. So I was telling Landon, I said, you would probably be booked up with somebody from the Maryland area, this and that, an offensive lineman. And I said, your second mentor is somebody in your position in your major. So there's an academic question type of thing, and you have these different places and these guys that you call. And I was like, that's something I would love to start with at Penn State and have that mentorship program and getting these guys hooked up. We all want to help. But to go back to something, and that is, again, we are in the middle of nowhere, so it's not like there's a lot of guys here who can physically be here to talk. But, with the way technology is working right now, you're a text, a phone call, or a video camera away from talking to somebody. So off my soapbox there a little bit. But
no,
I love hearing you talk about Cale and that and the way the program is. And I think that the what I love the absolute most is him sitting in that coach's meeting Friday morning and going, okay, that's fine. You want the one? Take the one. Take the one. He's not going because he's going to fight for his guy.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
he's not going to give it up without a fight, but he's also going to sit there and say, "Okay, I'm not going to make this a big damn thing. Let's go. We'll settle this on the mat."
And at the end of the day,
you like having that opportunity in wrestling, don't you?
Yes, if you're a competitor, I think in anything, right? Like you want to be challenged, and you want the opportunity to prove, especially if you are an elite talent, or you feel like you have a special team, like we want to go prove it by beating another team that is recognized as being special, or another individual who is recognized as being outstanding. Like that's what makes it fun. Like you don't want to go out and just, hey, congratulations, you beat a 500 kid. if you're the elite, you want that opportunity, man. Let me see what I can do against this other guy. And that's why, I think Stevenson looks forward to the opportunity to wrestle Kirkfleet. I think it's why Kakaisen and Starachi look forward to facing each other, right on down the line. And I think from Penn State's perspective, again, like Braden Davis ought to be chomping at the bit to get the opportunity against Drake Ayala, regardless of how it turns out. Like you want that opportunity. Hey, let me go out and test myself and, see what I can do. Same thing to Luke Lillidahl and Matt Ramos. Yep. And again, up and down the line, that and the Big Ten is going to give you that opportunity. That's the nice thing about going to the Big Ten tournament. All 10 of these guys, Mitchell Messenbrink included, they're going to be facing challenges. It might not look like it. They might make it look like they're not being challenged. Trust me, they are getting very good looks from outstanding wrestlers.
I showed my wife a picture of a team picture the other day with Braden Davis was in the front row and this and that. And I said, that's one of our wrestlers. And she's like, no, he's not. I said, yeah, he is. So what do you think about drawing some facial hair on him? Nah, man, he's tough as nails, too. I love that kid. Is his knee?
He is. He's competitive.
Good,
yeah,
good,
the knee's been fine. Woo. All right, we're going to take a break here. We're back with a final segment here on this Thursday. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys 98.7 The Fox, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Thursday afternoon, heading into an exciting weekend of Penn State sports. Again, Penn State hockey. Men's team will be at Michigan, best of 3 quarterfinal series in the Big Ten tournament. Nittany Lions, the 5 seed, the Wolverines, the 4 seed. And games will be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night and Saturday, and if needed, at 7 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah. I never looked, nor did I have the volume up on that game the other night to listen. How close were we? If we had won in regulation, would we have gotten that home series versus Michigan, or was that already a done deal?
It was a done deal by the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was trying to figure that out, and I'm like, it's pretty tough to do that when you don't have volume and no one talking about it. But it is what it is. But hey, the way they played this party a couple weeks ago, yep.
Yeah, this will be, again, a great opportunity. And
now, with what scares you in a situation like this where they've got so hot towards the end of the year is peaking. You know what I mean? And I hope that they can maintain what they have done the last few weeks, the last 2 months, actually, because, this is the time of year where it pays off.
Yeah, I think they will. I really do, which isn't, again, Michigan. The thing is, it's just like basketball. In the Big Ten, you could play 2 great games and lose 2 games here at Michigan.
Yeah.
Because Michigan also has a really good hockey team. Obviously, Michigan State and Minnesota are
not bad,
clearly national title contenders here in 2025. And again, I think Penn State, if it gets in the tournament, is a title contender as well, which is very exciting, but you got to get in there. And
I think guy, not part of the program, but a hockey fan, says if they can get one,
he thinks a win over Michigan
gets them in the 20.
Yeah, I think if they win this series,
they're
sure. Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but all but guaranteed if they win this series.
And a huge advantage for Penn State playing in Allentown. Huge.
Oh, if they get to the Frozen Four,
just
the
opening round.
That would be a big.
Just the opening round of the NCAA tournaments in Allentown. Alan told me the other day that the Frozen Four is in St. Louis.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the Frozen Four, but the Allentown is the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. So that's a home ice advantage for the boys. So, so let's get there. Let's get through this weekend, and it's Michigan, so don't even give them a shot. Just beat the hell out of them. Get them out of the tournament too.
That would work.
Take 2 out of 2. Take Sunday off,
that.
Guy and the boys have a good time. Enjoy Ann Arbor for a little bit. You get one more night there, party it up, head on back, eh?
Yep, that would definitely work.
Yeah. So me and Ironhead were talking about Pat Kraft. I mean, I don't know. Do you think he's in State College or Friday night is in Ann Arbor? I don't know. We don't know this, but Friday night Ann Arbor, Saturday afternoon Penn State, back to Penn State for the women's hockey. Well, does he go to Ann
Arbor? Back to Ann Arbor.
Does he go to Ann Arbor or does he go to Evanston?
Well, it'll be interesting because it'll depend, I would think, in part on the result of Friday night.
Okay.
And then
does he go to Ann Arbor or does he go to Evanston for the opening 2 rounds?
I think
obviously the second round.
Yeah, I think he goes to
back to
Evanston on Sunday.
Yes, for sure. Well, that's where his weekend ends. And then Pat being a Chicago guy, then he can probably get like his 5 deep dishes out there. You better.
Although you might be able to get from Ann Arbor over to, or from Evanston over to Ann Arbor if there is a game 3.
2 hours
by the end. I'm not sure about that.
2 hours. 2 hours.
Be interesting.
So what's your eating lineup, Ironhead? Come on.
Don't know yet.
Jeff.
We'll get that figured out once we get out there. We gotta
Jeffrey
see what the schedule is like.
So who are you
lots
scheduled
going
with?
on the
what schedule? Don't mind me. What schedule are you following?
Well, pretty much the teams
with the team buses to back and forth and around and practice. And
yeah.
Will they get there tonight? Will you go to Evanston to the mats or anything like that? What's
not tonight? We'll go over tomorrow and get the lay of the land. See, hopefully they'll have the broadcast location set, and we'll be able to know where that is. And we'll do all of that tomorrow. It will be interesting. Going back, we had a question earlier about the women's team or saying they need a coaching change. I'm always reluctant, Goon, to call for a coaching change, but I really like. I've met her twice, so take it for what it's worth. But I've been impressed with her press conferences. Like Carolyn Keeger, I really thought was going to be able to kickstart this program and get it back along the track that Rainey Portland had it. And it just, again, I don't know. I don't follow it closely enough to have any idea exactly why or what the factors are. But it isn't working. I mean, it's hard to make that argument at this point that this is heading in the right direction, and it feels like something needs to change. Whether it's the coach, whether it's getting a couple of different assistant coaches, whether there's something there that needs to change. I think to be able to give that program some hope. That the numbers are not good in terms of the attendance, and again, there was a time where the Lady Lions rivaled the Nittany Lions, and there were a couple of years there where the Lady Lions were drawing better, and it is disappointing just to see where that team is at this stage. And again, I don't know how much of it falls squarely on Keeger, if there's just some other things playing in, but it feels like once you have multiple seasons, 3+ seasons where you're struggling, it gets really, really difficult to be able to turn that around. Not impossible, and I'm not saying, again, I'm not calling for anything. I'm just saying it is disappointing.
It's an elephant in the room, Bubba,
where that program is, given its history. And we talked earlier about, Penn State's just not a basketball school. It was a women's basketball school, again, depending how you want to define it. It wasn't UConn or Tennessee, granted, but it was consistently a top 20 program. And it was, the NCAA tournament was a virtual given with that program. And now that seems like a pretty far-fetched
I would say the Lady Lions were a blue blood program 20 years ago with Rainey.
They were certainly, if they weren't a blue blood, they were on that very next tier and at the upper echelons of that next tier. So, and they were consistently competing for conference championships. They were consistently in the NCAA tournament. They were relevant. I guess that's maybe the best way to put it. Right now, they just don't feel relevant in women's basketball, and even in Big Ten women's basketball. And that's the thing going, like, I don't know. It's tough to watch. And Pat Kraft has talked about, if we're going to have the sport here at Penn State, whatever it is, we want to be competitive in it. And I think you're seeing, there's exceptions here and there, but I think that the overall trend with most of these programs is either they're already there competing for Big Ten or national titles and in the mix, or the trajectory is in the right direction. Like the track and field teams are heading in a very good direction. It feels like both gymnastics teams are, heading in the right direction. Baseball, softball, again, women's lacrosse is off to a bit of a rough start this year, but overall, that program is on really strong footing. Men's lacrosse has been sensational. Both soccer programs. The women's soccer program is phenomenal. Again, men's volleyball down a little bit this year, but the overall, like the same thing. Like you kind of just know that's going to bounce back in the near future. Women's basketball just right now, it just feels like, man, they're struggling, and it doesn't feel like there's going to be a quick turnaround there.
They had one win in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, won the entire season. Ohio State, which will take that. But they were a top 10 program at the time.
At the time, they were a top 10 team, and I was like, oh, okay, this is all right. And then I look at the end of the year, and I see that they had one win, and that was over a top 10 Ohio State team, which is crazy. And they weren't like really close losses. Like, you can pin a lot of men's basketball, on a lot of close losses and games that they were in. They sort of gave up. But you look at some of the scores for the Lady Lions, and It is. We're not just sitting there dumping on them, but it is what it is. I mean, it's just, like you said, Pat has this place going to a certain point where he is, paying assistant coaches top dollar, and he is all in on all these sports. And, is there time for a change? I don't know. It's not my place to decide that, but we'll see where we are this time in a couple weeks, couple months. I don't know, but I'm okay. I mean, Pat did come out with Mike and say, yes, he's
well, yeah,
good.
we're
he's
2 years
he's only 2
there,
years in,
and
so I'm okay with this. I think Carolyn is in 4 or 5. Krieger, I think, maybe even less. I don't know, but where it's at right now to where it was is it needs to there needs to be significant change. Whether it might be an assistant coach here and there, and going out on the NIL and the transfer portal and getting some girls coming in here and playing.
Yeah. I don't. Looking again, just at the athletic department as a whole right now, women's volleyball obviously at the pinnacle. And I think this will be an interesting season, by the way, coming up, because they lost the 5 seniors and some great leadership off of last year's team. But I think now it becomes obviously an attractive school for recruits, for transfers, and to go to the earlier point, it's tough to turn it around when it's not going well. When you have the success that this program had the last season, well, then you have the younger players that are in it. It's like, oh, that's what it took. I see what those players did, the way they conducted themselves, the way they rallied together and led us. So that culture does build upon itself. Now, you might not go win national titles every year, but I think, Penn State is going to be in good shape next year with women's volleyball, and I think for the foreseeable future, because, again, it's now kind of established. And I was really impressed just talking with Katie that some of the plans they have for the spring in terms of the team building and more accurately the leadership building to make sure they're doing everything they can to get back in the mix and try to win another national title next year, regardless of whether they lost 5 seniors or not. And I just think that's, women's soccer has that culture now where, again, they might not win national titles every year or go to the Final Four every year, but they're going to be competitive. Yep. They're going to be in the mix because they're getting the right players. The right players want to come here now, so on and so forth. Obviously, wrestling has it rolling in a ridiculously good way. But listen, baseball, and Mark checks back in. Thanks for addressing my points. I don't like the idea of people losing their job, but something has to change. Be listening this weekend. Ironhead, see you at the tailgate, Goon. And thank you for listening this weekend. The baseball team, Goon. Yep. For years, I've heard, and I'm not ready to present. I saw what happened
with basketball.
Yeah. I'm not ready to put the baseball team in the College World Series just yet. And listen, there are some very real disadvantages to playing in the Northeast. Like, it's just a reality. It's not an excuse. It's a real thing that you doesn't mean you can't overcome it, but it's significant. But I do have some friends who are diehard baseball, like, yeah, Penn State's never going to be like same thing as basketball. Like, we might have a great run where in a year somewhere along the way we make this great run and get to the College World Series, but consistently, well, again, I think you get the right coach in here, and I think we're seeing it with Gambino. Like, we'll see how this season and the future plays out, but you can see it with this team early. Like, there is a confidence there. There is a talent pool there that it's like, yeah, this is a program that could be heading for very good things very consistently. Softball, I think, is on the same path. They're not having this as great of a start as they had last year or as baseball is having this year. But it's kind of the same thing. Like, they are getting some elite players in here, and I think that's just going to start to build upon itself. And again, it's not that every year is going to be a championship caliber year, but more often than not, right, you want these programs to be at least in the mix and be competitive. And it just feels like across the board, almost, you're getting that now. And I think that's great for the athletic department as a whole, because I do think that morale can build upon itself. It's like, oh, yeah, we want to celebrate the success that team had and this team had, but now, like, we want to be part of that. And so,
sure,
I love Pat Kraft talking about, we want our coaches talking to Cale and getting some ideas. Well, yeah, you want to be talking to, if you're a coach, you ought to be talking to Katie Schumacher-Colley too about, hey, how do we overcome obstacles that might be thrown in our way? Think Katie might be able to help you with that?
A little bit.
So, and listen, I do think across the board, and I think Penn State over the years has had some great coaches throughout the sports programs. I would argue that right now is as good or better than it's ever been in terms of just the overall caliber of coaches that Penn State has throughout these programs. Again, Cale and Katie and Erica, Dombach maybe leading the way, but my gosh, there are high caliber coaches right now across the board here at Penn State, and I think that starts with the administration, with Pat Kraft saying, yep, we need top coaches because we need top programs.
Agree.
And you're seeing that pretty much across the board right now.
Before you go, give me you want to do any kind of order for the Big Tens, or no? You want to hold off?
In turn, well, I mean, I think Penn State will win the title. Team championship. Listen, I do think and I think Iowa will finish second. I do think and I think if anybody's going to challenge Iowa, I think it'll be Nebraska. That being said, I don't think Nebraska is a lock for third, because I think Ohio State has a very good team that could get hot here at the tournament. And Minnesota is a team, like, we haven't seen them up close. Penn State hasn't this year. Penn State didn't wrestle them in a dual meet or see them in a tournament. That Minnesota team, I'm really curious to see what they do both this weekend at Big Tens and at Nationals. That they have kind of had a resurgent season here, and they have a couple of young kids, McAnally we've talked about at 184, who are really exciting and fun to watch. I'm curious to see kind of how that 3 through 5, and again, I'm not ruling out that one of those teams could sneak in there and catch Iowa, but Iowa has some margin for error there in terms of the runner-up spot. I think Nebraska, Ohio State, Minnesota will be kind of duking it out there for 3rd through 5th, but we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. Folks, we will talk to you next Tuesday. We hope you have a great weekend. And, looking forward to the Big Ten Wrestling Championships. And stay tuned here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox for our continuing coverage of the PIAA State Wrestling Championships. The AAA tournament will get underway here in just over a half hour, and we'll have live coverage with Todd and Norm Brown throughout the rest of that tournament. Again, 4:30 this afternoon is when coverage will resume from Hershey. And again, we'll talk to you next Tuesday. Folks, until then, be good and be
Coast
safe.
into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if if you love rings and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates, Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
WFXX, Hunting Gas.
The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.